Hello folks, I'm back out in the garage today. It's a couple days after Christmas. The time before Christmas, when I wanted to get out here and work on the truck, it was just too darn cold. It was down in the negative 20s or something like that. It was just too cold for me. But I'm going to try today to work on some of these panels that I cut off on the last video and see if I can get some of them fitted in and then welded into place. It might be a little bit of a longer video or taken in segments because I won't be able to get it all done in one day, but I would like for it all to be in one video. It's kind of a, all kind of goes together. So I'll get busy on this and then bring you along for the ride, and we'll see how far we get. I was able to acquire a new weld grinder, also from Harbor Freight. The last one lasted me 20 years, something like that. This one here, I'm hoping will last that long or longer. Maybe not, we'll see. But for $19, it's worth it to me to definitely go with the Harbor Freight brand rather than something that costs double that or triple that and may last about the same amount of time. For a hobbyist like me, this is fine. So I'm gonna get busy. Well, here's an important piece of information that I didn't know. Come to find out, this stake hole closest to the cab that I need to work on to get the rust taken care of, it's actually smaller than the other stake holes. It's kind of strange. If you look at this here, turn it around. Perfect match. Perfect match. Now you take it and compare it to up here, it's too wide. That's interesting, huh? Bet you didn't know that. Okay, the first patch is made. It's a little pitted, but it's still pretty thick. I'll see if I can get you in here to see that. And there's no rust on the back side, so I'm not afraid of it continuing to rust once we get some paint on it and get it welded in and get paint on it. What I'm going to do now is, I think I'm going to just go ahead and go across the whole bed rail here with that surface conditioning tool and see what exactly I've got, and then start making more patches from there. I'm not going to cut any of the top rail out until I get all of the patches made where I need them, like for this spot here, and of course this hole. There's other places right along in here that one's all the way through, I do believe, yeah. And even over here, yeah, right there. So that's going to have to come out pretty close to this edge, this bend, this curve in the body line. And I really want to stay away from that if I can help it at all. But I'm going to go over this with this entire thing with the surface conditioning tool, just so that I can see exactly where I stand. I don't want to have to come back and patch things later on if once I start getting the sanding and getting ready for paint, all of a sudden something pops through and next thing you know I got to weld in another patch. So I'm going to do that real quick and then start making some more patches. Okay, I ran the surface conditioning tool across this thing, and boy, is there some severe pitting. I mean, right here it goes all the way through. Of course, this hole here, hard to get your finger lined up with the camera, but there's some of the areas. This one here goes all the way through, but it's hard to tell because there's an inner panel on the inside. You can really see that right here. That inner panel on the inside kind of makes it look as if, okay, I'm okay, but really you're not. So I'm going to have to really inspect these really closely and see which ones go through and which ones don't. If they don't go through, as long as they're not rusty on the backside, then I think we'll be okay. But some of them are pretty bad. There was one place on the side here, right there. Don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty darn close to being all the way through. I'm seriously considering, being as there's a hole right above it, that and there's also on the back lip here, there's an area that needs to be taken care of. It's not that bad back there, but I may be able to run just a patch from here down to here. I'd really hate to do that because I didn't want to mess up the integrity of this body line, because that is actually a strength point for the truck. So it will be a little on the scary side, but like I said, there's a lot of, there it goes all the way through. I'm pretty sure that is pretty close to all the way through. Same with that. The surface conditioning tool really did a great job on this as far as showing me what was really bad and what wasn't. There's another spot, the other drilled hole. I'll get rid of it. Here's another spot that goes all the way through. There's quite a bit. So I got my work cut out for me. Okay, after looking at this thing, after running the reconditioning tool across it and seeing all these other pits and how deep they are, I've decided to, instead of just trying to spot patch this stuff and do a whole bunch of small patches, just to make one long patch. It just doesn't make any sense to try to just patch them in. So I'm going to make a patch for it, and I'll bring it back and show you what I got. Okay, that panel's well, not done, but it's cut down and pretty much cleaned off. I couldn't believe the amount of Bondo that came off of this thing, especially considering it's a relatively straight panel. I don't really understand that, but there was a ton of it on there, with the exception of the areas where the reconditioning tool caught the edges and pulled it back and bent it. I'll have to straighten that out, but everything worked real well. The only problem I've got now is, unfortunately, when I cut this thing, I missed this hole and this hole. So once I get it welded in, I'll have to cut out probably like a half round D-shaped type thing and weld it in both places. But this pretty much covers everything. These areas here are pitted, but they're not nowhere near as deeply pitted as the areas, the stuff that I'll be cutting out, which is this stuff here. So that should pretty much cover all that. So now I just got to make the one to go down on this end, and then I'll have to come up with some more for here to take care of that. And then the panel should be pretty much ready to start cutting the original stuff off of the truck. Okay, let's see how this one fits. Well, still didn't quite cover that one hole. I tried to make room for it, but it's hard to get into. But you know what? It might actually cover it once I get the panel cut out. We'll have to see. And then for this back here, I'm going to take the one that I had made for the front there earlier and use that to cover the rest of the bad stuff back here. So, okay, I got that back piece cut and trimmed. It's pretty darn close. So that piece is done. Only thing I have to do now is pull all of these spot welds out along the back side so that can all be welded in, and make the little D-shaped patches eventually for areas like this where it didn't quite make it over the holes. So those will have to be cut out afterwards, after this is welded in. So I'm going to call this a video, do a little bit of outro, I guess you'd say, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I was going to make this one large video, or one video with the welding of the patch panels and the making them and all that, but that would turn out to be a really long video, and I'm afraid I would lose a bunch of attention if I did that. You probably would stop watching about halfway through, if not quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a success for today, and I've got the patches made. They're ready to be fitted now. All I have to do is like I told you before, drill those spot welds out and then start cutting, fitting everything in. But one thing I wanted to say is I was a little rough on this surface conditioning tool when it was time to do the hood, taking the rust off the hood. It did have a difficult time doing that, and it doesn't take it all the way down past the pits. I now get that, but I gotta say, for somebody getting something ready to weld, you saw how fast it was going through that Bondo. It melted through, it went through that stuff like it was butter. I think that's where that tool really shines. It was amazing how quickly it went. I was quite pleasantly surprised. But anyway, just wanted to throw that in there in case anybody was looking to get one of those. If you're looking to weld panels on, or make patch panels, or do any welding like that, or just taking paint off and getting rid of old Bondo, it'll take it off fast. It does a great job for that. So I'm gonna call it a night tonight and get this video posted. I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. If you have any suggestions or comments, I'm not new to doing this stuff, but I'm always willing to take suggestions. It's not beyond me to learn new things. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and if you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Bye.
Mergers, fires, and bankruptcy. A young